and welcome to another episode of Deadlock Vents. We are so happy to have many people tuning in, and I'm transparent. This is Conor. Say hello.
Hello.
And obviously, we've just had a massive balance patch, possibly the biggest patch ever in Deadlock history, where so much has changed in one go. Obviously, we've had the new Bloods, Old Gods patch, where lots of things got changed around the map and everything, but this has been a huge overhaul of balance changes. And to get straight into it, Conor, I feel like this patch was possibly the riskiest patch that Valve have ever done.
Why do you think it's the riskiest patch? Risky is a very specific word. Why risky?
It is. Okay, because this patch has overhauled so many heroes, people like Wraith. There's some additions on some of the other heroes. There's lots of changes. And if you're a new player who's just started with the Old Gods, New Blood patch, if you've come in with that, you suddenly hit with this massive wall of text and you're like, oh, I don't want to read all that. I don't want to do all this.
We felt quite overwhelmed, and we've played the game for a while. This patch don't hit, and you and I sat there at, I think it was like 10 at night, and just went, oh my God, this is so many things.
And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, this is MOBAs. This is how MOBAs happen. This is how Dota happens. This is just sort of what happens. This is the thing. And I get we're also still in that beta stage. We aren't technically released. They don't have to be too careful. But still, obviously, Deadlock has been on a huge rise. And this just feels like anyone who is slightly casual or more on the casual side might be put off by these things. And then going into the game, and you and I feel like the game is very different from what it was a week ago.
I do. I'm personally not having the best time with the current state of the game. It feels, when I first started playing, when you introduced me to the game, everything was about like these late game carries, and they sort of, what you would do is you would brawl for a while, and a late game carry would just sit and farm, and they wouldn't really do anything, and then they'd come and win. And it kind of feels that way still, but there's a couple of differences, which is now if you get a solo kill, you just get an absolutely crazy amount of souls.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm noticing is if one of these carry players who runs off and just gets all this farm very early in the game runs around for a little bit and gets some solo people who aren't paying enough attention, they just snowball like crazy. I'm not particularly sure I enjoy that kind of meta. I think some balance numbers need to be done. And with the state of a lot of buffs of the heroes, it just feels very much out of your control if you're like a support player or an initiator player or something like that. It feels totally different from the way that we were playing even just a week ago. Yeah,
I do feel like instead of changing or changing your build to sort of suit the whole enemy team, it suddenly changes into, I've got to change my build to suit that one player who's getting ahead. We've had it where a Venator, a Wraith, someone like that has just suddenly gone incredibly far ahead, and you suddenly have to go, right, I've got to get blinds, try to get metal skin, try and do all this just for this one player, rather than going, oh, they've got a Lash and a 7. Yeah, it's probably a good idea to get Spirit Resilience. It's probably to, they're slightly getting ahead. Oh, I should get these few items to counter a couple of people. It's just that one person now, which, because of these kills. And
I think it just is a snowball thing. Like the soul change was a little bit a while ago now. But because all these heroes have just suddenly been buffed massively and their pick potential and damage potential is considerably higher, I'm noticing it a lot more, being like a lot more of a problem than before. It felt like, at least in the last patch, even if there were a couple outliers that were a little bit stronger, everything was reasonably balanced. Like, you could sort of play any character and you'd have an impact and it wasn't the end of the world. I now suddenly feel that if I don't have a Wraith or a 7 or Victor or Haze or Calico in particular, if I don't have any of these characters, McGinnis is a menace at the moment. If I don't have any of these characters on my team, I already know I've lost, right? I don't even need to, and I think since the patch has hit, I've won like 1 or 2 games where that hasn't been the case, and the people we've played with have just played out of their minds, right? They've played like considerably better, and it was like a very difficult game to win. And
of course, we will say, like, we haven't been able to play like so many games. Obviously, Slay the Spire 2 came out, so a few of us
unfortunately we've been very much enjoying that.
Yeah, we can't grind out all the games, so maybe it's a little bit of like an adjustment period for us, but equally, like, I don't know, you've got to think, if we've got these casual players now who are trying to sort of invest into Deadlock, suddenly having a wall of text and also the game, where these heroes that perhaps, I guess, some of them will be people's favorites, but I mean, Wraith it does feel a little bit bonkers, and her ulti now feels very unfair. Maybe it's because I started playing Apollo and I got a little bit in people's faces and they started to just dump all the CC and I just blow up instantly. Maybe that's the problem.
I actually love the Wraith ult change.
I love it. I just think that it needs tweaks, because I think they need to lower that the silence and disarm at the end of it to be a little lower. Like the displacement is already very powerful.
That is true. I do agree with you there. I think when it's fully upgraded, it's almost 5 seconds or something ridiculous like that. I think I would actually be so on board if they moved her into more of an initiator kind of character role with like off damage kind of thing, and they went all in on the telekinesis being like the thing that she's really good at. It would be so nice to have an alternative to Paradox or Holiday or I guess Haze or Bebop, right? Like, I think it's a really nice. It might even be a nice role for her because she's got an escape, but then maybe that's too strong. I'm not sure. A Moan Krill does the same thing, right? So
the other thing that Wraith always is balancing on a knife edge is that she's a gun character who also does a lot of spirit damage, and that's always going to be something where, especially if you're trying to counter her, it's sort of like, what do I even buy? I can't buy resistance like disarming hex, but even then I'm getting nuked by these cards that all do different things, and you can't tell what they're doing. So it literally is like RNG of what card they get. Is it going to be more damage? Is it going to be, is it going to be a heal for them? Or is it going to be the Joker card where it does even more? It's a bit crazy.
One of the other things that I'm really struggling with at the moment as well is because there's no draft. We have gone into games together where we've just started the game and we've looked at it and we've gone, okay, we have 4 supports and 2 frontline. And we just go, well, what on earth do we do here? Like, how do we play this? I think we actually managed to win one of them, shockingly. But it's and then you look at the other enemy team and it's all carries, like the whole team. So I'm not really sure what's going on there either. The ban system, I think, is messing with matchmaking pretty poorly as well, because while I don't want to ever see Victor again in any game ever, I think because it's randomly chosen from the 12 players, I'm pretty sure it's not the most numerous band.
It's completely random.
It just means that things like Victor, who I think even at Eternus right now is sitting at a 60% win rate or something ridiculous, he should just be banned from the format, or he should be massively nerfed. There's so many problematic characters at the moment. Like this patch just threw a wrench in every sort of balancing that it doesn't feel fun to play. It's my opinion.
I mean, that's what, they've come in with quite a sweeping brush, haven't they? They've done a lot of things in a very heavy way. Obviously Victor, changing him from sort of just having minimal trickle over time to having that sort of big damage on his what's it call it? I'm trying to find
Pain battery.
Patch notes right now.
You're talking about the ability. Yeah.
So they've got that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, do you think, is this a good way to do patches? I think I would have liked it. I like these things, but I think it just maybe split it into 2, or even just a little bit further away from this big thing that has, as I keep saying, they brought in a load of new players and a load of new things, and maybe they don't care because it's not fully launched yet, but it just feels like a massive, because we've brought in quite a few new players, and unfortunately they're still learning the game, and I feel like right now they'll have learned, oh yeah, these are heroes, what they do, this is sort of how I roughly can play against them. And yeah, you have to relearn that all over again for these few heroes that have been changed in a big way.
For me, I think one of my biggest things with especially teaching new people is we went to people before, I'll buy Counterspell. Right, that was an item. I think you still buy Counterspell every game. I think if anything, it's actually more necessary than before. But the problem that I've got now is that there's so many characters who require so many items. If you see a Moan Krill, you pretty much have to take Reactive Barrier. You don't really have a choice. If you see Dorman, you have to take Stamina Mastery. If you see Lash, you have to take Counterspell. If you see Wraith, you kind of have to take Counterspell as well.
Well, even Wraith, you say you have to take counterspell. It's so hard to predict now.
It is. It's true. I'm just saying off the top of my head of things, but you're totally right. It is very difficult to predict. McGinnis, you need some sort of interrupt for her ult. So do you grab knockdown? If you're grabbing and imagine you've got all these characters in a single game, which isn't even a ridiculous thing to think about, right? Like,
no.
You're spending 12k souls just to counter the enemy team, which in theory should be what you're wanting to do, because the whole act of having that in the game means that, you know, you should be countering in order to win. I feel currently it's incorrect to counter at all. I'm weirdly in this position where there's a couple troubling characters. Like, I'll take a counter spell for a Lash, but otherwise I'm kind of just going, I guess I hope I don't get hit by this thing, because spending 12k on souls in order to counter 4 different characters, I don't do any damage. I don't have any CC. I'm not doing anything to utilize anything, especially if I'm playing a lot of these other characters that weren't changed.
I guess part of that is obviously it's a casual mode, a lower level, especially, you know, the support players or those in a support role who would usually take a lot of the counter items. You know, you're hoping that a Page is always going to take knockdown. You're hoping that maybe a Dynamo sort of takes similar items or whatever. Those the Kelvin as well. But a lot of the times they're not prioritizing it, and especially in lower ranks, especially when you're queuing with newer people and they don't know how to do that. And I mean, I wanted to do a whole episode on playing with new players, really, but it's seeped into here just because it's something we're doing regularly. And obviously, you want to help them improve the game, but sometimes they're like, so you're thinking, okay, should I take a hyper carry? But then if you're taking that hyper carry role, sometimes it's not the hero you play lots, but you also need someone else to support. And if the new player's on support is actually a very complex role in Deadlock, simply because it's a 3D space. There's a lot of items to use, and you have to know how to counter everyone else. It's not just an enabler. You often are the counter hero as well. And it's a tough space to be in, especially when you get a sort of rainbow lobby because you're playing with new people. I guess that's sort of what Street Brawl was supposed to be, but you and I both have sort of gone off Street Brawl after a while. It's like, okay, here and there when you just sort of want to wind down, but to sort of play as the introductory mode even after a while, you're like, come on, let's get in the real game.
I think for me, Street Brawl became very who got the best item the earliest. And I noticed that more and more. And I think if I go into my match history, let's have a little look right now, I think pretty much every game is a 3-0 for the last little while, either one way or the other. And that's 3-0, 3-0, 3-1, 3-1. Okay, maybe more so. So of the last 5 games I've played, 3 of them are 3-0s, 2 of them are 3-1s. And I think there's this luck element, because usually someone on the team happens to get a tier 4 item, which means that if it's on a character where that's really good on, it's just over.
It is very weird, right? Because the whole point of it is that you get these OP items. And I think we've said this last time on the podcast. You get these legendary items and you think, wow, this is great. And then you see on the enemy team, oh, they also got an enemy legendary item. I don't get to feel like it's super special because I'm also against someone who's got this crazy thing. I get it's supposed to be a bit wacky, but when it's sort of based obviously off Risk of Rain a little bit, most likely due to those devs coming over to Deadlock. So that whole thing of like, if you're playing in a single player game or a co-op game and you get the OP item, it suddenly feels like an incredible run just because you're beating the AI with ease. And but in a versus game mode where they have to make it a bit balanced, it suddenly has that sort of weird feeling around it.
Now that we've talked about the things that kind of we're not happy with at the moment, should we talk about some things that we do actually like from the patch?
I mean, the thing is, I'm really struggling to get my teeth into the patch. I'm trying really hard to. I guess the fact that the urn finally tells you if it's favored or not.
That is a really good change. I absolutely love that, mostly because you're usually my teammate, and there's been a few incidences recently where you've tried to run the urn and it has swapped the moment you've picked it up.
Yeah, okay, that there needs to be like a bit more of a grace time or something. I don't know. It's crazy that like, oh, I see green candles, I pick it up, it's neutral. Okay, great. Yeah, we love visibility. On this podcast, we have talked about visibility for things. Oh, and we, of course, our favorite thing.
The bridge buffs now. Were you going to say the bridge buffs? The bridge buffs, you could see them above people's heads. I'm so happy about the bridge buffs.
I think we talked about the last time.
Oh, did
as
we
well,
really?
No?
Oh, I'm
that-
so happy about it though.
But
I'm still so happy.
I was going to say, the best thing of this patch is Vindicta gets increased cast range on items while flying.
I was so happy to see it. I love Vindicta. I think she's my favorite thing of the patch. That and the goose egg. But I feel so much better playing Vindicta now, and less like I've taken Curse, I've taken Knockdown, I've taken Disarming Hex. I've played maybe 15 games since the patch dropped, and I've played Vindicta in half of them. I don't think I've won very many of them because I'm still trying to figure out what the build is to play her or that I'm comfortable playing with. But
yeah,
I feel like I can rotate now into a support if I've had a bad mid game or something like that. And I'm not punished for doing it. And I'm also not putting myself at risk. And I can counterspell when I'm in the air now. And that feels fucking amazing. So yeah, I really enjoyed Vindicta so far this patch.
I did see, I think, that when she's in flight, it also increases the size of the projector. So, like, Alchemic Flask.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Gets bigger as well.
Which I have been running every single game. And I've got a few kills off the back of it. It does feel very restrictive, I have to say. It's quite a nice little extra tool to have.
Now, unlike obviously Wraith and a little bit of it, like where there's sort of these power level changes, I do like these ability changes that we're seeing a little bit more identity or a little bit of, I guess it's a slight bit of simplification, which they need to be careful with. So like Vindicta, her Crow is now this sort of wide arc that sort of spreads out because it did feel really bad to miss it. And I think, that's going to be a little bit more of an enabler. And then equally Mirage, who's obviously the beetles are no longer this sort of weird ability where you sort of spam them away. You just sort of use them one by one. And it does take away the identity a little bit from that for beetles, but I think it's much better, much clearer in terms of gameplay, especially if you just pick up the hero, or even, if you've played Mirage many games, you sort of have these beetles and you don't really know what to do with them half the time.
It's weird because I agree with you that it's slow. It's making the game simpler. But I weirdly think with Mirage and Vindicta, they were both correct decisions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I weirdly think that they've also made other characters more complicated. Both of us play Calico. I've played a few games of her since the patch dropped.
I've yet to play the patch, Calico.
She seems insane. I think secretly like the third or fourth best character of the patch. She's definitely the best early game character, that's for sure. And I think her late game is considerably better than it once was. She has a couple niches now, which I think are really cool. On top of obviously she could rotate and things like that. But her gloom bombs deal with barriers. So if you're running around with a Mo and Krill trying to get picks and someone takes reactive barrier, you nuke the barrier. That's great. I think that's a really nice little thing that she does uniquely. And Leaping Slash also gives you souls on kills now, which I also think is a really nice little change.
Yeah, obviously that's come over from Vindicta's Assassinate, which it was removed from, and they've sort of that. And obviously, Calico is supposed to be this assassin character, so it definitely fits that value, and it helps her encourages her to gank, I suppose, which is one of the things she should be doing a lot with her mobility, her cat. It should be enabling her to do that, so that's very good.
How do you feel about the goose egg?
Goose egg is really weird for me right now. It's one of those things where it's like, where does it fit in? And it's such a hard thing to, I think, understand as a player because you're holding on to it, waiting for the stocks to be up and right. This is the time I sell it. This is the time I use it. And it's supposed to be a support item, I guess, in the main part because you've got that minus 10% damage. Yeah, it's going to be weird to see if it is impactful at all. But I think the fact that you were saying that you buy it early so that you can sell it fairly early to get your boon a little bit quicker.
I think you sell it around about 9 minutes is my instinct. I haven't actually sat and done the maths. I don't know if anyone has, but my instinct is around about 9 minutes, I think is the selling point. You get a boon from that. You get buffs. I think you get tier 2 buffs maybe. I think actually no, buffs change at 10 minutes, don't they? So maybe I'm a little bit off and it should be after buffs. But that feels right. I've played with it a few times now. I have to say the only change I want to Golden Goose Egg, unless like number changes are needed, I want a setting put into the game called the I am a moron trying to sell my Golden Goose Egg on accident because I panicked button. And so
instead of claiming it.
Yeah. I just want, if I go to sell it, I want a thing to pop up that says, I am a moron. Yes, I would like to sell my goose egg. simply on the basis of how many games I've already played where I've accidentally sold my goose egg because I've pressed the wrong key. Now, I am a tall man. I have very big fingers. Keyboards aren't really made for my size. I also just, absolutely hammer away at my keyboard like an absolute moronic giant. But I would like that. I think that's a personal thing for me. In terms of using it, I've got reasonable value. I tried it on Vindicta, who it didn't necessarily feel like it fit. I actually played it on Calico for a game, and that was the game where I snowballed the most, weirdly. So I didn't even notice the damage difference. I played it on Vindicta a couple times. It was okay. It wasn't anything special. Did I say Dynamo?
Don't know that you did.
I played it on Dynamo as well. If I did say him already, I'm sorry. I played it on Dynamo as well, and that felt really good. I got a lot of value out of it. I managed to sell it a good time in the game. I got a lot of buffs. I think that game ended up having something like 5,000 health because it ended up giving me a whole bunch of health buffs, which felt quite nice. I think it's a nice little item. I'm glad it exists. We did talk about previously a purple item being a farm item.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Rem, Dynamo, Page, although Page wants damage, it might just be a Rem and Dynamo item. I was actually saying to you, I was wondering if Geist takes it, because if you're going to play Spirit Geist, maybe you don't care about the lane anyway, because you kind of suck until you got some regen. And then you just sell it late for the extra, or you sell it early for the boons or something.
Yeah. I mean, is there any world where you sell it when you need to get your ult? Is that even the timing? Is that going to be right?
So how much is it? It's 90 a minute, and then it's 800 to buy, and you get 400 back off the back of the rip. So you get 400.
It's a free 400, right? It's completely free. You spend. It's 1,200 souls worth of boons. Towards boons, right? Because you've got the 800.
You got the 800 initially, and then you do get the 400. It's true. So in terms of, but does it work? I wonder if the 400 works like selling an item. I haven't actually tested that to work it out. I think it gives boons. I'm pretty sure. I've used it in game to give boons, but now I might be spreading misinformation because I remember telling you this in game, and I was like, "Oh, I definitely got a boon from it," but I'm now worried that a minion died or something. But if you're getting it around minute 5, you've got 350 souls off the back of it at that point, roughly. I guess that's that would equal a boon around about minute 5. It would give you the advantage just after bridge buff, so maybe it's worth it on certain characters if you're all ult. Like Holiday,
you have to be so coordinators as well, right?
It really would.
Half the time you're sat there with your ult and the enemy's underneath their guard, and you're like, "Well, great, I can't do anything with this now."
It might just be those initiator characters. It might just be Paradox and Holiday or the divers like Calico. Calico, I imagine it's actually not a bad shout on because her ult is so powerful.
Wow. It's tricky because with Calico as well, you're sometimes very powerful before that ult comes out as well.
Especially now, she feels absurd now. In a good way. I like that there are these early game bullies. I think she's slightly over tweaked, but I don't think she is by any means the problem of this patch. Again, I want Victor removed from the game. I want him put in the bin. I just don't want him to exist. I hate his existence. I think it's terrible. 7 again has reared his ugly head and is a problem again. At the rank we're struggling with Haze a little bit because her ability to gank and get those solo kills just means that she usually spirals out of control as she feels stronger. Again,
and Mo and Krill as well has been
Mo and Krill, it just, oh my god. And they're always good. Why are all these people who play Mo and Krill good? Why do I never see a bad Mo and Krill that's like
the most slippery, most tanky, and also managed to do the most damage? Mo and Krill just is always there on the enemy team.
And none of us play Mo and Krill in the group that we play with, so we never have this wonderful point and click ult.
It was the first hero I think I played, or played a number of games of. I always recommend Mo and Krill to any player who's coming in from a MOBA to play Mo and Krill. I think he's got a good, the fact that his ulti is such a good cooldown of of making sure you're interacting with the team fights. You just pop your ulti, interact with in that team fight, and then just get out of there and go do something else for a bit. I think that's such the best thing about Mo and Krill is you get that heartbeat of the game going. But right now he is an absolute menace. And as you say, you buy Reactive Barrier or Unstoppable if you're one of those people who've got to actually get in the fight and do things just so you do it. I think I've managed to counterspell one Mo and Krill and I've been very happy about it. So yeah, just have to get good at it, I'm afraid, Conor.
Well, okay. Okay, I'll just get better at dealing with the point and click ult.
Do you think we're going to see another balance patch very soon? Do you think we're going to get one this week? Even when this podcast has come out.
I do want to say one of the things about this patch, heroes feel considerably, all the ones that were changed feel considerably less useless, right? We've seen a buddy of ours play Paradox, and he absolutely smashed it one game, and he got a 3-man swap into a Lash ult, and it was just beautiful. And it won the game for us. Like, Paradox seems like even more of a monster than she already was. A lot of these characters weren't even seeing play before. Like, Dorman was kind of a meme. Now he's actually something I'm afraid of when I have to play around. Calico kind of fallen off a little bit, but you got those one tricks who were a problem. Abrams was too much of a problem, and he now feels fair. And this is happening with all these characters, you know. I'm not going to go through all of them. So I like that they're doing this. Just the balance feels everywhere.
Yeah.
It is. I saw someone who said, or I think it was on Reddit, someone said, well, if everything's broken, nothing is.
It's a classic, the Dota balance, right? That's what they've always said about Dota. Is that the way, or is it League? I can't remember.
No, it's definitely Dota. It's definitely Ice Frog's way of changing games. Yeah. It just feels... I feel like I've had whiplash. And I felt so comfortable the last couple months with the game, and I really had nailed it and got better as a player. And I finally got to Oracle, then this patch hit, and I'm like completely out of my depth. I've got no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Obviously, there's been a few other little things, like the boss now alerts people at 50% HP, which I think is interesting. It definitely screwed us over the other day when. Yeah, I don't know. We got the boss down to basically 55% HP, and then we had to abandon it because our team didn't come, and then the enemy team could just nuke the last 55 in no time.
It's not a change I like so much, I have to say. I get why they've done it, because obviously they're trying to reward people more for taking the boss, and if you don't have the awareness to stop the boss, and it will make players play better and think about boss more often.
Especially map awareness, right?
We play at a rank where, ourselves included, I'll talk for myself. You're actually a decent player. I am a moron, right? And everyone on my team is a moron. We are all morons together in this game. If they're on boss, even when it was proccing at 70%, 1 in 20 games we maybe got in there and had a fight. That's... Most of the time, it's kind of like one idiot goes in and he's like, well, where is everyone? Why are we not on boss? And it's like, well, because we were taking a camp. You know, it's
very funny to watch Night Shift where they'll take boss in a heartbeat, in a bat of a gnat's whisker. When one enemy is just died, they'll take boss instantly. To our rank where there's 4 people dead.
Oh, they're up in 10
blue
seconds.
Lane. We're on blue lane, and we're right next to the boss, but it could be a bit risky because that Graves is still up, and she might solo take it all. Which does happen, to be fair, sometimes.
It does,
so
which is the problem. It's we're bad enough for it to happen, which is why we're all scarred. We're all these victims from this fucking... It happened one time where we got a random person the wrong elo in our game, and we're all scarred from it.
You weren't there, man. That boss pit, you weren't there, man.
Oh, God. I'm glad it happened. I'm hoping it makes people play better. I'm definitely having more issues with people just kind of standing around not doing anything useful. It's really odd. I don't know what they did with this is sort of an in-between patch notes thing with the ranks. They didn't put a patch notes out, but they mixed up all the ranks and people got re-ranked and these sorts of things. And some of my games are the best games I've ever played. Now that I'm in an Oracle for some reason, they're the best games I've ever played because the teammates that I have actually do things. Right? They run urn, they fight for urn. The people push walkers when the urn's being taken. The other problem is there are a bunch of other people that have also been pushed up that rank that have no business being there. Myself probably included in this. who then also go, oh, I'm taking this. Oh, wait, my team's all died, right? Because they decided not to be involved or do something. And I've found that most games, the game is decided not by the best player, but by which team has the biggest moron, right? And I've had a look a little bit before we started recording this. Most of my games have been decided by whoever has the most deaths, not by... Most deaths in the early game, I should say that as well. Most deaths in the early game, not even like most deaths at the end of the game, because I know that people die a lot in the end of the game because you're trying to just do Hail Mary after Hail Mary to try and get back into it. But I had a game today where a lane had died 9 times in the first 6 minutes, and the haze was 20k ahead, and everyone in the conversation, everyone in the game is going, well, do more things. I'm like, I didn't even have a chance in this game. Like, what's going on?
Especially when that person has got really farmed, they either then go around nuking kills or they go around guarding the walkers. And so whenever there's a big team fight going on elsewhere that you can't join, you think, oh, I'm going to try and push this walker. That 20k ahead person comes out of the woodwork, even though you're like barely up the lane, and they just kill you, and you've fed them again, and you're like, oh, and you just think, what am I supposed to do? Like half the time I can't go to this team fight because I'll then be abandoning this lane. I can't push the lane because I'll get killed. You sort of get stuck in the middle. You end up trying to do a camp half the time, and if there's no camps, you just sort of you get very much stuck in the middle. And even if you do end up trying to get to that team fight in time, maybe I just sometimes it's not enough, and you just fighting from behind right now does feel a little bit tricky, especially when there's a big bad fed hero on the enemy team.
Should we do our roses?
Oh, we haven't done that in a long time. Roses, what was it? Roses, thorns, and buds? There we go.
Flowers, thorns, and buds. No, buds, thorns, and... We're very bad at
roses,
this.
Roses, thorns, buds.
No, roses, thorns, buds. Okay. Roses is the thing we like, right?
Yeah.
I was going to solely say Vindicta. I think the Vindicta change is great. But I'm actually just going to say in general, I like this approach to changes with characters because a bunch of characters felt very underwhelming compared to the new characters that came in. And so I'm very grateful that they do things. I think certain characters shouldn't do anywhere near as much as they do. I think Ivy, Seven, Wraith, Victor, etc., might be a little bit overtuned, but like I can see Ivy is going to be a problem long term, whereas I think like Wraith and Victor and Seven are more of a numbers problem. I like this sort of balancing. I hope they like bring Viper, and they changed Yamato, but she feels awful. Like they bring some of these other characters more up to date would be nice. What about you? What do you like?
I do. I like these little tweaks on significant abilities, I guess, is the way I think. They're changing the way that these abilities play, and it seems for the better. I'm trying to think. Looking at the map changes, I've got my bud. My bud is an additional neutral camp, which I think is generally a little bit dull and boring. But I'm excited to see where it goes.
I really dislike that camp.
I think it's really out of the way.
It's so out of the way,
I'm excited to see where it goes.
And it's so I like that camp when I'm behind, but I don't like that camp when I'm ahead because it takes me further away from everything that I need to be near. But when I'm behind, it's like, oh, I got my safe little corner. It's a little bit too spread out.
It's also awkward to take.
Yeah, that's my main problem with it. Certain characters are certainly a lot better. I think it's one of the reasons that Ivy is a little bit better at the moment is because her camp clear is pretty good, and then also she can take these odd camps in a lot of ways that other characters can't. Bud is I need character. What's a bud?
Bud's what you're looking forward to.
Looking forward to. Okay.
Really.
You'd think after episode, what is this, 5 now? We'd know their own formatting of our show.
Oh, we don't. We don't.
Bud. I'm looking forward to nerfs.
I'm still looking forward to jungle changes. We've got jungle changes. Well, nerfs as well.
I really want jungle changes.
just to make it interesting. We've talked about how they could have unique properties. Maybe we'll see that. But yeah, as I say, they're obviously set up a new neutral camp. Whether that means that they're thinking about camps more, and that's sort of going to be in there. But we'll wait and see.
I am looking forward to when the meta settles down a bit, because I think everything is considerably more playable now, with the exception of maybe Viper. I'm like looking at the character list at the moment and trying to figure out who I wouldn't play. I think she really is the only one that maybe Yamato as well, but I think that might just be our rank. Everyone feels so much better to play now, or to play against, or to have it as a teammate. Like, I'm not looking at a character going, well, we're playing 5v6 now. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to just balanced numbers, I think. The thing we least enjoyed at the patch, that's what the thorn is, isn't it?
It's just too big. I think it's too big, and it means it's meant that some of these people who've come out really OP have been considerably OP. You know, they are making those heroes that are causing trouble are causing a lot of trouble right now, and it's not great for all those newbies in the game, or all those people who can't quite invest the time to know, how can I deal with this new Wraith?
My thorn is, why does Victor still exist? Why did you nerf him and then buff him? The fact that he is also 60% win rate at Eternus means it's not a low level problem. I know that he would be dealt with better if there was a draft system. I just want the character to be remade. I want different abilities. He is always going to be a problem as long as that is his kit. He shouldn't have a revive. If he's going to have a revive, he just needs his kit changed. He shouldn't be anywhere near this tanky, or something. Like, something needs to change about him. I would be totally on board if they changed one of his other abilities to be an AoE CC and they got it off the ult. Because I think that's also one of the problems with him, is because the fact that he does area denial when he dies, which is just the craziest design. And it was so cool when he came out, but the more and more I play against him, the more and more I hate the design choice of him as a character, and I want him to just be dead and gone and buried and never to come back.
Well, you've heard it here, guys. We want to hear your thoughts about the new patch as well, whether you're in the YouTube comments, TikTok comments maybe. I don't know. We're posting some TikToks there, or generally everywhere. Twitter, Reddit. We don't really have a Reddit, but we're looking forward to seeing you guys. Well, we're trying to get these, as again, shorter. This is a 40-minute episode, or possibly less than that once I've edited it. But it's great. It's great to sort of be able to do these, and hopefully you enjoy this format still. But we will, catch you all next time, I suppose.
Thank you very much for listening, guys.
Bye.